is at our door. Russia has brought war back to Europe.
The NATO Secretary General is preparing for a war with us. How can you prepare NATO for a war with Russia if the main member of NATO doesn't consider us as an enemy?
Russian President Vladimir Putin firing back after NATO Secretary General Rutte warned the Kremlin may attack other countries in Europe. This as the European Union agrees to lend Ukraine $105 billion. For more, let's bring in the President of Finland, Alexander Stubb. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining the Sunday briefing, sir.
Always a pleasure.
So you were in Berlin for the meeting with President Zelensky last weekend and also the U.S. delegation. This weekend, the Russians are in Miami again. We are seeing the pace of these talks seem to ramp up, but at least publicly, we haven't seen any signs that Russia is making any new concessions. What can you tell us about how close we are to reaching some kind of an agreement?
Well, we're probably closer than we have been at any time of this war. And I'd say that in the past 3 to 4 weeks, the two special envoys of President Trump, Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, have been working around the clock to bring the two parties closer. And in Berlin, we had two key takeaways. One was that Europe, Ukraine, and the United States were united in our resolve to get a just and lasting peace and working together. And the second one was the idea of security guarantees for Ukraine. So we're sort of almost there, but, you know, the most difficult 5% are still left.
Hearing President Putin in his year-end address, it sure sounds like Russia is unwilling to accept anything less than 100% of what it's demanding. Listen to Putin here.
The goals of the special military operation will be achieved unconditionally. If Ukraine doesn't want to have a substantive discussion, then Russia will liberate its historical lands on the battlefield.
Finland, as you well know, gave up 10% of its territory to Russia to maintain its independence after the Winter War and War of Continuation. In your mind, as this is being negotiated, is there anything that Ukraine must not give up?
Well, I think the three principles of statehood are key here. One is independence, the second one is sovereignty to decide, and the third one is territorial integrity. And I think Finland lost sovereignty and territorial integrity in World War II, but we retained our independence. And what we're trying to do is to make sure that Ukraine not only maintains its independence and sovereignty, but also as much of its territory as possible. So what we try to do with the